Well, hang on. Let's get situated here. Let's do a sound check. Headset active. Okay, let me type in this thing here called sound check. Yes, no, let me know. And then invite your little goofy butts to come on in. And then, what is a banner? I can do banners. This is an example of a banner. Click on a banner to show on the screen. Oh, let's see. Okay. Create a banner. Scroll across the bottom of the screen. Okay. Brand. Minimal. Default. Bubble. Block. Minimal. Default. I like the default better. StreamYard overlay. Video clips countdown. Okay, I think we're ready. Oh yeah, so just come on in. I don't have a big agenda planned. Just wanted to ask you a question. Does God need your permission to save you? What a weird question, huh? It's a weird question because God is God. And God doesn't need your permission to do anything. He can save you any old time he wants to. You know what? He's the Lord of all. He's the creator of all. He's the savior of all. Arctic Timberwolf, come on in. There's your little invite. That'll give me time to smoke and talk and think and so forth. Does God need your permission? Nah. You know what? God is not a perfect gentleman. He's the creator of the world. He's the guy with a purpose and a plan. He sent Christ to the cross. No permission. He didn't get Christ's permission. In fact, Christ said, I'd rather not. But not my will. Not my will. But thine be done. Hello, Mr. Wolf.
Hey, hold on a second. I gotta mute the YouTube's stream so that it's not echoing.
It's not echoing, amazingly.
Okay. Yeah, how are you doing?
Lovely.
Good.
What do you think of this little question?
What, does God need your permission?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a simple question, I think. God doesn't need permission from anybody to do anything, right?
But you know, there are those out there who ridiculously say that God is a perfect gentleman and he would never do anything against your will.
Well, he'll do nothing without telling his prophets, though.
Explain.
Well, he is a gentleman in that he will tell his friends what he is going to do before he does it. Just
Oh,
like just like when he went and destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, he went to Abraham first before he did it and told Abraham what he was about to do.
mm-hmm. Okay, but he didn't get so so these guys who say God is a perfect gentleman and he'll never force you to do anything.
Well, that's
That's,
not true. Yeah.
doesn't that sound like bullshittery?
Well, yeah. Well, it is. I mean, people have two different perspectives. I mean, you're either on God's team or you're not on God's team. And if you're um, like take Egypt for example, um, I'm sure Pharaoh had a very low opinion of God, but he was on the receiving end of the wrath of God.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So perspective is important in how people make their formulate their opinions and stuff. As you look around YouTube these days, everybody's got varying opinions and stuff, and it you can you can kind of tell their perspective or the side that they have chosen um, by the opinions that they formulated.
You can almost tell how old they are too.
Oh well, yeah. There's lots of different ways of telling that. Excuse me.
Because when they're 20 years old, oh my God, they know everything. And by
Well,
the time they're 40 years old, they're starting to question whether or not they know everything. And then when they're 60, they know they don't know everything.
it depends on how a person is raised. Also, I think
Mm-hmm.
that has a lot to do with it. A lot of the kids these days are coming from broken homes, and they haven't had a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't have a dad to spank them when they got out of line and whatnot. And then they hit the streets of society and they don't do so well.
Don't blame me. Yeah, so I wonder what God has in mind with this generation. Because there's a great degree of truth in the idea that we all go through the same horseshit, no matter what century we're in. It seems to be we repeat and repeat and repeat this story over and over again.
Well, I don't think people have changed all that much over the centuries. They still got stupid ideas, and what has changed is uh, just how do you say it? I guess kind of like the advancement in technology has made life a little bit more comfortable. With indoor plumbing and stuff like that, and Other than that, though, the mindset of people really hasn't changed all that much. It's deteriorated, if anything.
Hmm. What would be a solution to this
Destroy them.
generation
Destroy
deteriorating?
them.
Destroy them.
Yeah. Destroy
Okay.
them. Turn it
That,
over.
that would be a solution. Okay.
A harsh solution.
I can't argue with you.
I mean, that's essentially what wars have kind of. That was the solution for war. I mean, not all wars. You know, but it has done its job to reduce the population during certain time periods. Get rid of the bad apples.
Uh-huh. Are there any wars on the horizon now?
I don't know how much news you watch. I kind of try to
I
stay.
used to be a news junkie, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to wean myself off of it.
yeah,
Especially when they started that COVID crap, I just got bored right away. And now, to this day, when I accidentally switch over to one of the news stations and they're plathering on about COVID-19, I'm going, I can't get to that remote fast enough.
yeah. I don't even have a TV. I can't even get a over-the-air TV where I'm at. So
You know why the Amish don't come down with the COVID virus?
they don't.
No, they don't.
I haven't heard that.
It's because they don't watch TV.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. There's some buildup in the South China Sea, but they've always had a little dispute over the South China Sea there. Um, Other than all this BS with the mandates and whatnot, I haven't heard anything about any sort of like war buildup. But with that mandates and stuff, it's kind of building up towards a war, though, isn't it? Hey?
A mandate of what?
The vaccines and dress code. Your facial dress codes and stuff.
See, I haven't watched the news, so I don't know.
They're trying to make
Just call me
people
Brother Amish.
Yeah, well, I don't play along with it. I haven't been vaccinated for anything since the 1970s, and I'm not going to go around with a muzzle over my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's giving me a hard time where I'm at. Every once in a while, you walk into Walmart and there'll be a doorkeeper say something stupid like, you got to wear a muzzle. Just look at them and just say, no, I don't. Just go about your business. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Once I'm in the store, nobody ever gives me a hard time.
Since we brought up the topic of war,
Yeah.
I thought I'd put something in your ear and get your comment on it.
Okay.
In the 1800s,
Okay.
when countries would go to war with each other, the dynamics were entirely different. Because the whole world was on a gold standard at that time, gold and silver, which means that if you go to war, you actually got to pay for it. And how do you pay for it? Well, you either loot the hell out of the country that you just destroyed, or you tax the hell out of the citizens of the country that you're in, and therefore pay for the war. But ever since 1913, with the creation of the central bank and their charming ability to print money out of thin air, the dynamics of war have changed, and we don't have to exactly loot the country that we just conquered. And we don't exactly have to tax the hell out of the citizens to pay for the war. It's just a disguised form of taxation because they're printing up the money and the money loses value. And we don't even see it today. We see it maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, Depends on how fast that money gets spread into the economy. So it destroys a dynamic evaluation as to whether or not this war actually costs us anything. We don't see it until way down in the future, right? And so the dynamics of war have changed as far as why you would want to go to war. And so since 1913, God damn, we've had world wars. And it doesn't seem to be a problem as far as paying for it because, the bankers are printing up money and they use the freshly printed money to buy oodles of new weapons and airplanes and Tiger Tomahawk missiles and all that crap, right? And so we don't really, I'm thinking that we don't really see the cost of war like we did in the 1800s. And so wars are longer and drawn out and they include all the world. And so I wonder what we can see as far as the future is concerned regarding war. It's because we're not looting the hell out of the countries that we conquer, unless like with Afghanistan, we turned all of the opium trade to us instead of letting them keep their opium trade. We had American soldiers guarding the opium fields.
Yeah.
Just thinking. Go ahead.
Are you trying to say like wars like become an economic thing or something? Or
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying the dynamics have changed.
Oh well, definitely.
I'm trying to think out loud, right?
Yeah, I think the dynamics have changed mostly in part due to the advancement of technology. Back in the 1800s, they had, like muskets and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but ultimately, well, the 1800s, the three big ones were the Napoleon Wars, so the end of the First Reich, right, around like 1806 or something like that. And then there was the American Civil Wars in the mid 1800s, like 61 to 65.
And that one was definitely a looting of the South.
Well, yeah.
It impoverished the South for 100 years, actually, according to some economic measurements.
Yeah.
So guys, have you heard of sustainable war?
What's that?
No.
Have you heard of sustainable war?
What is that about?
War. Yeah.
Okay, so, we build stuff, and, how do I put this? If you build stuff, it's once you build it, that's it. It's done for, right? Like, think about this. You sprint money to build stuff, and then you send a war in to destroy stuff, and you're constantly building and destroying at the same time. Never-ending cycle.
That's crazy.
No. Like, you have crops, right? You have crops, and you destroy one crop, and you raise another crop in different sectors. And like how what's the word? You'll cut all the crop in one plot of land, and then you'll let that be the mulch, for the next crop, and then another.
Well, I don't get it, Alan. Like that's like saying you build the Hoover Dam and then you dismantle it brick by brick only to rebuild it again. Why? Just for constant activity?
Well, constant activity, constant profits. Someone's getting paid,
over time,
somebody is getting paid, but somebody has to pay the bill. So
over time, things constructed will deteriorate. So, it's like a car, right? Like it'll rust out, like the fender will rust out. You can repair it with so much Bondo until it's, it's feasible to, repair it with Bondo also. But there comes a point where there's not enough duct tape to fix something. and then at that point you just got to like destroy it and start over with a brand new one.
And thus, war.
Well,
That's
no,
war.
but I mean, if you're gonna like say sustainable war is just like the purpose of it is just destroy stuff.
Well, you gotta understand the people that rule us aren't the nicest of peoples, right? They're not. They don't have our interest at heart. Right now,
Did Alan? Did you invent this term, sustainable war?
no,
No.
I got it from something else. But
I've heard it before. I've heard sustainable war before.
I think it's a stupid phrase.
Well,
no, we've been at war for how many years now? Constantly, never-endingly.
Mhm.
yeah, but that's in various different theaters.
Various
You
different
know.
theaters.
Yeah,
All right. Right now they're trying to depopulate the society. Right. This is a
Yeah.
new war. Like remember how like a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, every time you turn on the news, there was a terrorist attack with Muslim. Every single time you turn on the news, there was a terrorist attack with some Muslim, and whether it be in Europe or America. And now you never hear about that ever. What happened? Did the Muslims get bored? What
Oh,
happened?
they started going to Sunday school at the Southern Baptist Church.
Overnight, all the terrorists, the Muslims decided to, we don't feel like, doing lone wolves attacks. Isn't that a bit odd? Goodness, like,
well, the focus has shifted. See, now you're the terrorist
yeah,
because you are bucking the rider. You're going against everything that's happening right now with all the fucking roll up your sleeve and stuff, and because of that, they have deemed their enemies terrorists.
like think about this. The number one threat to terrorism is COVID-19. If you think about it, because once COVID-19 came about, all the terrorist attacks just all of a sudden stopped.
Well, I don't know what that. They just don't report. They report what they want to report. They show you what they want you to see.
What happened to the flu? No
On,
one knows what
on
happened.
mainstream TV, that is.
Oh man! Once Joe Biden became president, everything became boring, extremely boring.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like I used to watch the news every day, and like once he came into office, I can't be bothered to watch the news.
Yeah, I haven't watched any TV in over a year. It's not even an option where I am right now. But even prior to that, I never got into the news. I think it's just idiotic, I like a good movie, I'm a movie buff.
Yeah. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, shoot, I don't know.
What movie have you
That's
watched?
a tough question.
What movie have you watched 6 times?
Oh, I've watched the Back to the Future movies probably more than 6 times. The
Really?
Star Wars movie, yeah, more than 6 times. There's some really good movies out there. One movie that I saw couple 3 years ago that was really good. I like time travel type movies too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can never go wrong with time travel or bank robbery movies. Those are cool.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, Ace. I think the worst place you can go wrong is time travel. If you think about it.
It's entertaining.
they came out with this movie called The Jacket.
Yeah.
That was a good one about
Time travel jacket.
Well, kind of. They put this guy in a straitjacket and stuffed him in a morgue drawer and stuff, and then he like did a time travel thing or whatever through it.
And what about the Time Bandits?
Oh, that was a good. That's an old one, man.
I know.
Like early '80s. Yeah, that was. I would say
Alan,
that was my favorite one when I was little.
Alan, did you see the Time Bandits?
No, I never even heard of it.
That's a good one.
It was financed by one of the Beatles, George Harrison, and a lot of the actors were from the Monty Python crew. And the plot was these 6 or 8 midgets had discovered a time map so they could jump through portals so they could steal the wealth from Napoleon, etc. Right? And right at the beginning, they accidentally dropped into this 10-year-old kid's room, and so he got caught up into the epic journey with them. And he's the only one with any sense because these midgets they're crazy. And it's an adventure. It's humorous. It's a lovely movie. I've seen it many times.
Vase.
Yeah.
What does this have to do with free will and
I
God
don't
need
know.
your permission to save you?
Oh. Well, you know what? Actually, in the Time Bandits, the very ending of the movie, they meet the God because they're always running from God, trying to outrun him by jumping through time portals. And they meet some famous British actor who plays God at the very end, and he says, they all ask him, why are you doing this? And he says, it has something to do with free will. And I always thought that was a cheesy answer. It doesn't.
That was a ridiculously cheesy answer.
Right. It didn't answer anything at all. But
it feels good. It feels good to say it.
Right.
All you need is love. That's a feel-good answer.
Leave it to George Harrison, huh? Wow.
Yeah. George Harrison he wrote some very good songs. I loved his work. Dirty Harry is your favorite movie? Wow. Dune?
That's a good
Sterling.
one.
What was the plot of Dune? I could never figure that out.
It's long. It's long. They made like a series of it too. I don't know. I know that their eyes glowed like a bright blue.
Right.
They had this spice. There was a planet that had a spice or something because of the spice. It like changed their genetics so that their eyes glowed blue, and I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. And it was pretty cool. James and the Giant Peach. Yeah, that was a good one.
What was that one about?
I can't remember. I remember it was good, though. I liked it.
When they own the information, they can spin it all they want. John Mayer. Sterling points out that only 6 people control all of our media. Well, that's why we hang around this room and drink coffee together so we can figure out what the hell is going on in our world. Oh, Sting was in Doom. That's right. But that didn't save the movie in my mind. I still don't know what the hell it was about. It was a plotless movie. Jeremy says Network was a great movie.
It's still relevant to this day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what a movie was ahead of its time?
What?
A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, tell me about it, because I've seen it, but I was too young to know what the hell it was talking about. I mean, it was like...
It was, well, the message is kind of bullshit. Right, so you have this kid named Alex. Not a kid, he's an adult in the movie, but he was a kid in the book. But anyhow, and he's basically rotten and evil.
He's basically rotten and evil?
Yeah, he's rotten and evil. He's a member of a gang, and he likes to rape women for fun and all sorts of things. But anyway, so they put him in a psychiatric facility, and they run an experiment on him that makes it impossible for him to be evil. Right. And then, at the end of the movie, they undo the experiment to him, and they give him back his free will. And immediately as he gets his free will back, he goes back to doing the same stuff he did beforehand. No change whatsoever. That's the end of the movie.
I don't remember much about the movie except one part where some guy's forced to lick the bottom of a shoe. And I remember thinking that shoe is a brand new shoe. Look at that sole. It's just clean. That's all I remember of the movie. Some guy had to lick some other guy's shoe. But it was
Deer
new.
Hunt. That's a really good one. The Deer Hunter.
What was that about?
Vietnam.
Oh, isn't that where they were playing roulette with a gun?
Shit, there's a lot of movies where they play roulette with a gun.
And he used the final bullet to kill the enemy instead of kill himself? I don't remember. Jeremy, you'll have to come in and tell us what Deer Hunter is about.
Gut wrenching. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I like Apocalypse Now.
You do?
Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, that is great. Full Metal Jacket. They can't make that kind of movie anymore. It's against the law.
Why?
Because our soldiers are honorable, decent, wonderful people. They never do anything wrong. Thank you for your service to our country.
You're absolutely right.
And neither can you make Gomer Pyle, McHale's Navy, F Troop, or anything that insults a government employee.
But Ace, you can insult the cops now, so that's new. You know.
Oh, they're expendable.
Oh man.
Anthony says he watches my cousin Vinny. I forgot what that one was about.
All I remember there was this girl that was trying to get pregnant. That's all I remember from that movie.
Mm-hmm. And the Sting.
There's another one too. I'm trying to think of. There's three big Vietnam movies that I like. Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now. There's one other one. You remember which one it is?
Platoon, yeah, that was a good one.
Platoon. Yeah. You know, the only American flag shown in the movie Platoon is the Confederate battle flag.
Really?
Yep. That is the only American flag shown in that movie.
Is that because the United States government owns the copyrights to the flag and such?
No, they don't.
I think what's the word, Lena? Like, if you want to put military uniforms in your movie, you have to because they own the trademark on the military uniforms and insignia, and they have to sign off on it.
I think you're thinking of Hillsong, where they charge a royalty fee every time a congregation sings their songs and service.
Do they really? Do they really?
Yes, they do. I promise.
Okay, now, as far as movies are concerned, there's 3 movies that were made by the same group of people behind the scenes. It's Buckaroo Banzai.
That's a good one, Buckaroo Banzai. I love that.
That is.
Brazil, and Time Bandits. And they're all, if you analyze them in their philosophical kind of way, you can see that they're a trilogy. This is a trilogy. Buckaroo Banzai and Brazil and Time Bandits are related to each other.
Wow.
And it was done that way on purpose. You know, you don't have to make it up. It was the same producers and crew that put them together. So then you would have to ask, what are they talking about? You know, what's their hidden message? What's their philosophy behind this thing? And Brazil was an English version of 1984. And then Buckaroo Banzai was everything is crazy because we have the hero who can do everything and save everybody. And he's a rock and roll star and a race car driver and a scientist and the ultimate hero. And then Time Bandits kind of like says, you know, we're all little midgets running around in life trying to steal other people's property, other people's wealth, even if we have to jump through a time portal to do it. Anyway, just thinking. But I love all 3 of those movies, and I didn't even know that they were like a secret sequel of each other.
Wonder who produced Flash Gordon. That's kind of a similar movie to those 3.
Oh, and then we have to mention that the Truman Show and the Matrix are very similar.
What's the Truman Show about?
This little kid is born and he grows up with the camera always on him. And he lives in a bubble and he doesn't even know he lives in a bubble. And then when he becomes about 30 years old, he figures out that he's in a bubble and he finds the hole to get out of there.
How big is the bubble?
Probably 2-3 blocks long.
Ah,
That's a
okay.
lot like THX 1138.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the word? The movies. How do I put this? You know, like the 2010s. You know, that was the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was, you know, the big thing in cinema those days. 2010s, the Marvel movies. But have you ever tried to marathon those movies?
No.
All right, I tried to, and what's the word? I got a subscription to Disney Plus. And I was watching it, and I began to hate these movies because they're all the same movie, just with a different character. It all felt the exact same movie, but you know, it just had different skin on it.
Well,
You know, like it's all vanilla ice cream, but like one vanilla ice cream topped with sprinkles, another vanilla ice cream topped with graham crackers, another vanilla ice cream, what's the word, sprinkled with raspberry sauce. It's all vanilla ice cream. That's how I describe it. Terrible.
okay, so you think doing a marathon with Marvel is interesting. How about this?
They're terrible.
Scientists have concluded that if you watch one Gamera movie, it's like kind of weird, but if you watch 2, it's crazy, but if you watch 3, it's called a Gamera marathon.
You talking about the Godzilla enemy, Gamera?
Yeah, the turtle, the flying turtle that destroys Tokyo.
What?
There is a movie that came out in the 50s, early 60s, 3 movies called Gamera. And they were really ridiculous and cheesy. But if you watch all 3 of them, you deserve a certificate for enduring the Gamera marathon. Sorry.
You know what sucks? What's the word? Like there was these 3 Netflix movies. There was these 3 Godzilla movies that came straight to Netflix, and I watched all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And each one was horrible. And the first one was horrible, and the second one was like, well, maybe the second one will be better. And the second one was even worse. And I was like, all right, well, the second one was even worse, but you know, maybe the third one's good, and the third one's even worse than the second one. Oh man, the end. They all died. That's the end. They all died. Godzilla wins.
Yeah.
Hollywood
sure has jerked with our minds, haven't they?
Well, this wasn't Hollywood. This was straight from Japan, but it wasn't good anyway. Or like, what's the word? Like, did you see that new? It's not new, but like it came out a couple years ago. The new Godzilla film. What's the word? Where there's this lady, and she's a scientist, and she teams up with this guy, and they decide to unleash the monsters on the world to reduce the world population.
Saw it last night. Stupid.
All right. But but like, what pissed me off so much is that they try to make the woman into a hero after she released these monsters onto the world. You know, because she was trying to release the monsters so that you know we could stop global warming and get the Earth back in balance, right? And you know, who cares if we kill millions of people? You know, whatever. You know, the ends justify the means. But as soon as her kid was in danger from being killed by one of the monsters, you know, oh shit, what have I done? What have I done? You know, you didn't care about killing all the other kids, but once it was your own kid, now all of a sudden, you know, and then she tries to rescue your kid and she dies in the process. Oh, she was a hero. She wasn't a hero. She was a monster all the way through. She was terrible.
She was the monster.
You know, yeah, but here's the thing: the movie tried to portray her as good. You know, it had the lighting and the music. You know, as this is a heroic sacrifice. This isn't a heroic sacrifice. You're still trash. Absolutely trash. Oh man. You know, if that were a man, there would not have been the sappy music, you know, and what's the word, you know, all the other things to try to make her seem justifiable. Anyhow,
I think the ninja movies are superhero movies.
Years ago, along about 2000, the year 2000, I went to dinner with my daughter. She was all of 12 years old at the time. And every time somebody would come by our table, I'd say, excuse me, come here. I have a question for you. I'd say, you know, the Power Rangers? And they'd say, yeah. This is when Power Rangers was actually on television. I'd say, do you think the Power Rangers are like cheesy or like really cool? And all of the women that I asked, they said it was cheesy. And all the guys were reluctant to say it was cheesy. And they would kind of say it was cool. I thought that was fascinating that instantly the women thought it was cheesy.
No, I don't mean Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean real ninja movies. Like Ninja. Like Return of the Ninja, stuff like that.
What do you got against turtles?
Nothing. I haven't seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. Hollywood Ninja, that was pretty funny with Chris Farley. I like that one. Chris Farley, I thought was pretty funny though.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a comedy. But the actual ninja movie, yeah, they just recently came out with a movie called Ninja a couple of years ago. Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Hey, Alan, can you do me a favor?
all right.
Look on YouTube and look for, I think it's Chris Rock. He's in with that Chinese actor, the Chinese martial artist. What the hell is his name? They did some movies together, and so what you're going to search for is who are you? So he's asking this Oriental fellow, who are you? And the Oriental fellow's name was you. He says, I am you. Anyway, so if you can find it, we'll play it.
Yeah, I didn't get into comic books either when I was younger, but some of those old comic books are quite collectible nowadays.
When I was 14 in 1963, 65, something like that, I was buying comic books for 15 cents a piece. And how much are they now? Like $3 a piece?
For a new one coming out, yeah, I don't know. So those old ones, though, they could be lots and lots of money.
I should have kept them, huh?
People collect them like baseball cards.
Yeah, Rush Hour. That's right. It's in Rush Hour. And it's the scene called Who Are You?
What movie's this?
All right, listen up. I need everyone's attention. I'm Detective
Make it
Carter.
bigger.
This is Inspector Lee. We need to see Soo-Young's
that's
locker
right.
right now.
No one's allowed in the back without the master's permission.
Maybe you didn't hear me. We need to see that locker.
I'm sorry. Wait, Carter.
Lee, I got this. Hey, kids, listen. Violence will solve nothing. Now, as the Chinese say, all great battles are won without fighting.
Sorry.
Okay?
I don't know him.
And let's just come on with this. Look, listen.
Okay.
Try talking. Woo! Now I'm about to beat the puberty out of you. You ain't gonna see it coming. You ain't gonna see it coming. Come on. Ah! Woo! Running for your lives. By the time y'all show some respect around here. Huh?
Carter, wait for the master.
Whoa! Damn! I'm sorry, man. I thought this was the bathroom. Sorry. Lee, I got a big problem, man. This boy's on steroids. He got a head like Barry Bonds. No, come on, man.
Carter, are you okay?
Lee, get him, Lee! Lee, let's get the hell out of here! My bunions! Come on, man, let me go. I love Chinese people.
Wait, I don't.
How do you say surrender in Chinese? Okay, I'm about to slice you up like a giant California roll.
帮你不来个门。
Oh, shit! I'm not playing no more. Let go! Let me go! I'm sorry! I'm sorry, man! How the hell we get in this mess?
Lee, Chen! Ching, Lee! May I help you?
We'll be asking the questions, old man. Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
I have told you.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
I'm not blind, you blind.
That is what I just said.
You just said what?
I did not say what. I said you.
That's what I'm asking you.
And you is answering.
Shut up! You!
Yes?
Not you, him! What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you!
I am me. He's me. And I'm you.
And I'm about to whoop your old ass, man, because I'm sick of playing games. You, me, everybody's ass around here. Him, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm sick of this.
Let me
Lee, no, Lee, no.
Okay, that's all. Oh my, I love that scene.
All right, so
Who's
so Ace,
Hmm.
what does this have to do with does God need your permission to save you?
I don't know.
Fun.
We might as well enjoy the ride. God does not need your permission to save you because you already belong to him. Remember, he died for your sins. Therefore, he must own your sins. He paid the price.
All souls are mine.
Hmm. Who are you? I am you.
That's what I said. Man. You was blind. That's what I said.
Can you see why it's important to clean up our vocabulary? Because if we don't have a clarified vocabulary, we'll sit around the room arguing about who are you. That's what I said.
I couldn't take the trash out if I waited till after dark until I was 18 years old
Why?
because of one damn movie that my dad took me to when I was 10
Mm-hmm.
or 11.
Mm-hmm. What was it?
Oh my gosh, I remember digging my nails. I can see the handrest on that old theater, and I can remember the pattern on the floor, the smell. I held on to that damn handrest the whole time. It was American Werewolf in London.
Oh my.
Was it a good film?
Oh yeah.
Back then it scared the crap. Man, I couldn't let on. It was scaring me. I'm there with my dad, Just let me go to the movies, see an R-rated movie. That was a big deal back then. Boy, kids didn't get to go to R-rated movies. I think I was 11 or 12. Yeah. Yep. If I waited till after dark on the trash night, our trash cans were behind the detached garage, way in the back, down a little skinny alley. There's bushes and everything. And I swear, I couldn't make it halfway down there. I'd see them teeth and them eyes of that werewolf. Just I knew he was right there.
Wow.
That's funny.
Years ago, I read about a little scene when television was rather new in the 50s, and it was on television was a Tarzan show where the lion was almost ready to attack Tarzan, and the grandma was watching it, and she was screaming at the television, warning Tarzan that the lion was sneaking up, and the grandson had to tell this grandma, relax, grandma, this is just a movie, it's all pretend. And when she learned that it was a movie, she was so insulted because her emotions had been all involved in it that she never watched television again for the rest of her life.
Wow. Didn't get a chance to get addicted, huh?
That's right. That'll teach her a lesson she'll never forget. So nobody said Wag the Dog was an important movie.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah?
Man, it's been a long time since I saw that.
Nobody brought up The Godfather.
Number 3 wasn't that good.
Those old gangster movies.
A lot of people swear by The Godfather. They think it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. They have to watch it once every couple of years, the whole series.
It was up there.
I like the James Bond movies, 007.
Oh, yeah? Even the wimpy ones? You're going to be thrilled to know the new James Bond, from what I hear, is going to be a black woman.
No way. No way.
Here's one
He's
for
not,
you.
he's not kidding. He's not kidding.
Remember that movie, Little Orphan Annie?
Yeah?
Then they remade it, and all of a sudden, Little Orphan Annie isn't the little white girl with red hair. It's a little black girl.
Oh, whatever.
So they're remaking The Little Mermaid. But she's black now. Anyhow.
Come on, let's go back to this real quick. Are you telling me, are you serious about what you said before?
James
Little Mermaid?
Bond?
Yeah, come on.
About James Bond?
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
Bond movies. I think they're cool.
Yes, she is now a black woman.
Has nothing to do with black. Has
No,
everything to do with woman.
What happened to the guy that was the newest one that I'm aware of? Was the guy that was in like Skyfall and
Yeah, that guy's getting old, man. That guy's
what did he
getting old.
like get fired or retire or something or
No,
what?
he's-
Daniel Craig.
He's been like on that role for 10 years already.
You know what's interesting about the actors that play James Bond is there's only like been one or two of them that are actually British. Pierce Bronson, he's Irish and Irish American. Sean Connery, he's Scottish.
Is this true, DB? The next James Bond will be transsexual.
So, Casino Royale came out in 2006. So he's been at the role, Daniel Craig's, for 10, 15 years already? 16 years?
So what is it going to be? Jane Bond.
James Bond. Their attempts are futile, guys. It's just like when they made that movie G.I. Jane, where they attempted to try to say that a woman could be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, didn't it bomb at the box office?
No, I thought it was a good movie, but it's interesting.
So dumb.
Because
How-
there's no way that there's ever going to be a female Navy SEAL.
How can they equate that to? How can they equate like not wanting a James Bond as a girl, or this G.I. Jane thing as to what do they call it, prejudice or something like that? It's just common sense, man.
Well, they're trying to blur the lines between everything, between male and female,
But you can't.
between
Physical
races,
line.
between everything that they can think of.
I can't do it. I've checked every single one until I got tired
Guys,
of it.
we were full of nonsense. We were full of nonsense. Daniel Craig's latest James Bond film is coming out this year in a few days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's his last one.
Oh.
Well, they did have the fairy godmother, jacked up in the last Cinderella. Couldn't believe it. Saw that on an ad for that on TV. Unbelievable.
I don't know. I think a woman's femininity is not, it's just like a man's masculinity. I don't know why they would want to blur the lines except to cause a dispute, between the two sexes.
Well, it
There's,
depends. It depends if you think about it, Arctic Wolf. It makes perfect sense if the people who run us and control the society are centralized. Think about how many excess males we have. What's the word? In a hypergamous society, all the women go to the top 10, 20% of guys, so that leaves 80% without no women. It'll be in the society's best interest to push homosexuality for the remaining 80% that can't get, the girl.
What?
God dang, man.
I'm serious.
I don't get it.
Say that again, Alan. Just one more
I don't
time.
get it.
Do the
All right,
math again.
Okay, in a hypergamous society, most women will go with the top 20% of guys. That leaves the bottom 80% with no chicks. So what are the bottom 80% going to do without any women? It will be in society's best interest that the 80% that can't get girls to become homosexuals. That is why, also, how do I put this? It's easier to market
murder
to.
and kill the 80%.
Well, you can't really do that with nukes. Before you got rid of the excess males by going to war, and you did this every 20 to 40 years. Right? You start a war, you get rid of the excess males, and you rinse and repeat. But now, too many men in society, leads to war, and now you can't afford war because you have the nukes. So you have to figure out other ways of solving the problems.
I think that only works in a promiscuous society.
And this is not a promiscuous society.
Well, I'm monogamous. I don't know about the rest of the guys out there, but I know I am, So that only works on people that are promiscuous,
Have you read The Rational Male, Alan?
No, I have not even heard of it.
Wow. You got to get a notepad and write it down. It's awesome. You'll love it. There's an audio book, a written book. It took the internet by storm. Just a normal little old lay guy working in an alcohol brewery, writing a blog about women and men. And he went to school to learn behavioral psychology so he could compete with what he called the big dogs that he was watching in that environment. And he started putting a correlation between all the interpersonal or intersexual relationships. How it's all the same. And man, it's just really eye-opening. It's all statistics too. All hard math. It's really good.
What's it called again?
The Rational Male.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Of course, you strip out, your secular nonsense like, what do you call it, evolution and all that. Worse.
Yeah.
But behavioral traits and the statistics and the numbers do not lie. They do not lie.
Remember that Robert Redford movie called The Horse Whisperer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming out with a sequel now called The Horsefly Whisperer. It's about this horsefly that gets damaged on the windshield of a car. And they bring Robert Redford back to
It sounds like bullshit, Ace. It sounds like complete utter bullshit.
I was like, oh man. Come on, Ace. You know what's the last thing that would go through a bug's mind when he hits that windshield?
What?
His hind legs.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But there's no insects left. Windshields are rather clean these days, and it should worry us all.
Well, that's because the government pays people to spray the roads with bug repellents.
The
That's
roads.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
like what's the word? Like I live in Florida, and we see government-controlled vans. They'll drive through areas where they spray chemicals into the air to kill bugs.
Yep. When I first moved into my house in Waterloo, it was back in the late 90s, like mid 90s, in fact. I think it was like 96, 97. I was standing in my driveway, and the city vehicle, city pickup truck came driving by, and he had behind him a big, looked like a wood chipper machine that he was towing. But as he drove past, the thing was billowing out this orange smoke out of the thing.
Agent Orange.
And I asked the neighbors, I said, what the hell is this? Because that's the first time I've seen anything like that. What the hell is this? And they were like, they're spraying for mosquitoes.
Holy crap.
I'm thinking to myself, but that's like a freaking orange. Yeah, my first thought was Agent Orange, and then like 2 years after that, I only saw that thing once. 2 years after that, I never noticed it ever again. It's like, what the heck?
So overall, though, and this is Arctic Timberwolf. I just put my glasses on. Nice to meet you.
Hey, yeah, nice to meet you. I think we've talked to the chat a couple times.
Yeah. So you're saying, Ace, are you saying that overall there's been a notice of a reduced bug population in general?
When I was a kid in the 60s, you couldn't drive 10 miles without stopping and cleaning off your windshield because there were so many bugs. And now there's hardly any bugs out there to speak of. And guess what? There's nothing for the birds to eat. And so we don't see birds like we used to either. So if you kill all the bugs, you will kill all the birds. In the 60s, there was so many birds in the sky, it would kind of halfway black out the sky for a while until they all flew by. And now I get knocks on my door from the Mr. Pest Control guy, and I tell him to go to hell. I said, because of you guys, there's no bugs. I don't, what the hell are you selling bug repellent for? And you want to spray down the whole house? There's no bugs. We're lucky to see a spider. And I say, look around. Do you see any birds in our neighborhood? Thanks to you guys killing them all.
Wow,
So-
it's had the opposite problem. I got tons of bugs where I live.
It's a domino effect.
Well, I don't see any birds anymore, and that bugs me. Get it? A double entendre.
Oh yeah.
But who's next? If the birds are dropping out of the sky, then who's next? How long can we survive this crap? And I'm quite sure that Roundup is just a diluted form of Agent Orange. And everybody in my neighborhood just sprays the hell out of the Roundup on their lawns to get rid of so-called weeds. Years ago in my neighborhood, I used to walk down the gutter after a rainy morning to pick up worms to bring them back to my garden, because there would always be worms in the gutter after a rain. And I'd get 20 worms per block, and now I can't even get one worm in 10 blocks.
Yeah, that's because the ground soil is poisoned.
With Roundup.
Yep.
Yeah.
All sorts of chemicals, yeah. And
Well,
the
guys.
farmers use that crap too, I mean, they're spraying it in mass.
Well, that's I believe most of the GMO, the genetic modification, is so the plant can be made Roundup resistant. So they just spray the shit out of it.
Yep, it's not good what they're doing.
It gets in the water supply. Roundup is technically the chemical called glyphosate. And when it gets in your body thinks glyphosate is glycine because they have a similar structure. So it takes glyphosate and it builds cells out of them. And glyphosate's power is that it starves the plant of water. And so when it builds a cell in your body, it will starve your cell of water. So it builds brittle cells in the human body or the horse's body. And it'll build brittle bone structures too. And we see plenty of bone people breaking hips and knees and shins. And even on the racetrack with these $1 million racehorses, they're confused as hell as to why the horses are breaking their legs at these famous racetracks. They can't put it 2 and 2 together yet, that it's the hay that they're feeding that has a lot more Roundup in it. And so even in the horse's body, it's using glyphosate, thinking it's glycine and building bone structures out of it. And they got to kill these $1 million horses if they break a leg.
Well,
horse meat is legal in the U.S.
What?
You can't eat horses in the United States. You know that, right?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, they go to the glue factory and they make dog food out of it.
going back to that real quick though, Alan, just real quick, I just want to ask something. Not on the horse meat, but so if you are not growing your own food, then it is not unwise to at least try and buy as much organic, so at least it's not sprayed with a Roundup, right?
What's the word, Jeremy? How do I put this? What's organic? It's according to what the FDA standard is organic.
That's the God honest truth, because they own the word organic now.
Yeah, I don't trust them, but I'm saying that you would be better off, though, if you bought, and then even better off if you just avoided grains, I guess, from the store.
Mm-hmm.
But if you weren't going to do that and you were going to eat bread and all that, at least you would have a higher chance of avoiding more Roundup by buying all organic if you're not growing it in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Alan?
I think we're at the end of the Aeon, Jeremy. We're set to die, in a sense. Everything is colliding to one central focal point.
You go out in the woods, there's if you can find the woods, that is, because they're chopping down all the woods. But if you go out in the woods, there's plenty of stuff to eat. So what I'm saying is, the difference between wild and organic, and then your poison pesticide-ridden food. So wild food would be the best.
Yeah, organic's just trying to take all of man's hand and dirty work off of it as much as possible.
Right, but they still, even if it's organic, it's still growing in areas where the soil is poisoned.
No, I know. Well, I'm even more motivated.
Guys, let's check up on La Palma. Let's see how that's going.
There's got to be a movie in the making about this.
So, Alan, I find it interesting, and I don't disagree. I mean, to each his own, but you're just like, I just find it funny. I might even take it up if I was single. You're just like, screw it. I eat and drink whatever I want. It's the end of the eon.
Well,
I like it.
Here's the thing, mate. Like you look at pictures from the 1960s, everyone's thin, right? And you look at, just go to the store today, everyone's morbidly obese, right? And when people talk about free will hides, the obvious culprit. They're putting things in the food that's destroying us, that's killing us. And why kill us off early? Because if you kill us off early, you don't have to pay Social Security.
It's a high carb diet and low fat diet that's killing everyone.
Jeremy, the people in the 1960s, were they eating high carb diets?
No.
Really?
Dunkin' Donuts was just getting started at that time.
They were only consuming about 15 grams, I think 15 grams or something of sugar per year, or per month or something. It's up to 150 now. So sugar is just like empty carbs. It's
I don't know. I eat a lot of sugar, and I'm very, very thin and lean.
Well, some people survive. Anyhow, let's watch La Palma.
Volcano behind me erupted. Down there you can see the city lights
This came up today.
from Los Llanos. Today we will talk about the landslide close to Tazacorte. I have some very interesting news for you. So please give me a minute. I have to drink some water and you can have a look at the volcano. Okay, let's start quickly with the important and very sad news. The main lava stream started to move again and the church of Todoque collapsed. This is very, very sad for the people. And now the lava stream is getting closer and closer to the Atlantic Ocean. In the middle of the screen, you can see the orange glowing lava stream, which is not far away from the coast. I'm turning the camera to the right side. There you can see a light in the middle of the screen. This is a ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Here on the left, we have the coast. This is the city of Tazacorte. I'm going up a little bit, and then you can see again the lava stream glowing in orange and some blue lights, maybe from the police. I'm zooming out, and there you can see the city of Los Llanos on the left, in the middle.
Oh,
Where is it
cool.
geographically,
and there
Alan?
the lava stream. The good news are that the people.
What?
Where is this geographically?
Okay, let me bring up a map for you guys.
Yeah, there's Wild Eden is following a lot of the volcanic stuff going on. I guess she was saying there's a volcano erupting in Iceland right now also.
Yeah. Man. That's cool.
The zits on the face of the earth are popping, boys and girls.
Now, has people? I mean, it's not cool, of course. Are people being hurt here? I mean, or is this out of a populous zone, away from a population?
No, it's right next to the city, dude. It's right
Oh my
next to the city. My goodness, dude.
Terrible, dude. Scary. Have they evacuated the whole city?
No, they're still, well, maybe not. Maybe not.
Where's the Avengers when we need them, man?
Hello.
Authorized race.
I don't know. Lava from volcano, it moves really slow though.
Yeah. All right. So worst
So the
case
Canary
scenario.
Islands, huh?
Yes. So they're right here. Here's Spain. Here's Africa. Here's the Canary Islands. So worst case scenario, half the island breaks off and falls into the sea. And if that happens, still crazy tsunami, what's the word, that will wipe out the east coast of the United States.
In 2017, I think it was, there's a radar station on one of the Canary Islands right there where all that's happening right now. They actually shot a freaking EMP weapon directly at the radar station at Madison, Wisconsin Truax Air Force Base at about 1 a.m. They launched about 6 birds in the air because of that event. And that is something that they did not report on the news. But those Canary Islands, I believe they're owned by Spain.
Yeah. I am. So, Jeremy, are you satisfied with the geography?
Yeah. Wow. So wait a second here. Oh, I see. Okay.
So, if the worst case scenario, the eruption becomes so bad it splits half the island into the sea, and if that happens, we'll get these huge 130, 160 foot waves that'll crash into the United States. All of Florida will be lost.
All of Florida?
All of Florida.
Really?
Yes.
Now, wait a second. All it takes is for that lava to reach, or does something worse have to happen?
It has to get really bad. It has to get worse. So It has to get so bad that half the island splits off
Oh, I see.
and falls into the sea.
Yeah, it could happen.
It could, right? You know,
I don't know, man. Same time, all that stuff they dump out of planes every now and then, that there's got to be a soggy roll of toilet paper with your name on it.
I don't
Sometimes.
think they do that anymore.
Not the ones that are obeying the rules. They don't.
From Tagande, El Paso, were allowed to go back to their houses. Let's talk about the landslide. I didn't
Okay.
recognize it. And I didn't know what you mean when you wrote down in the comments, did you hear about the landslide? Did you see something? Did you hear about it? Can you confirm it? And I didn't recognize it because it was such a small landslide that happens often here. And I saw 2 landslides like this before, weeks before, months before. The coast over there is very, very steep. So it's normal that sometimes some stones fall down and they hit other stones. So it's very, you can see a lot of dust and everything. And this is because I hike sometimes here down to the beach. And at this time I was hiking back and I saw this landslide on the coast. Here.
What?
I was just saying we're getting an echo. I think it's off your mic.
Okay, I'll turn off my mic.
You can see me hiking down to the beach of Tazacorte. This was recorded on 12th of July this year, so this summer. Later on in the evening, I hiked back up the hill. And now in the middle of this screen, you can see the landslide I filmed on that day. For me, that was nothing unusual, something normal, because the cliff there, the coast, is very steep. And sometimes it can happen that you can experience a landslide like that. So in my opinion, nothing unusual. So, but please make your own opinion about that. I will read to you what they wrote down in the news. Landslides. The coastal zone of the area affected by the volcano continues to register situations that are so-called a stress. That stress is causing landslides. As happened a few minutes after noon this Sunday on the cliff of Playa Nuevo next to the city of Tazacorte. These are landslides related to the pressure the area is suffering and the countless seismic movements days and weeks ago. In fact, the National Geographic Institute has not registered any major earthquakes in this area in the past few hours. So these landslides may be due to the influence of many earlier days. Today, the director of Involcan, the Institute for the Volcanoes here on the Canary Islands, had a very important message for the people abroad. Director Miguel Angel Morcuende is sending a message to the people in other parts of the world. The life on La Palma is safe. In view of the calls abroad, it is emphasized that life on La Palma continues normally. And that's what I can see here in the northwest or on the other side of the island. Life is very normal. Like I said, the streets are open, restaurants, shops are open, people are walking around, hiking. At this evening, there were some people here looking at the volcano. There's no panicking. People go on with their normal life. We live in a normal lifestyle with additional problems in the communities suffering the outbreak. The situation is under control with the additional problems that it is an eruption that goes through inhabited areas, which make the phenomenon more serious and dangerous. So that's the main problem here. We have a volcano erupted, but the problem is that there are many houses close to the volcano. All right, my dear viewers, that's all for now. I will be here back tomorrow afternoon. Thank you very much for your support. I wish everybody, especially here on this island, the very, very best. And we'll see us in the next video. Take care. Goodbye.
Yeah, who was it that said something? It's not the volcano itself that actually is any sort of threat. It's the earthquakes. Dale Kelly said that. You're absolutely correct. You know.
Well, okay, Alan.
Okay.
I'm ready to bring out my my beloved theory of the sky is falling. And my beloved theory is that we are actually running out of easy oil.
Oh yeah.
So you don't believe in abiotic oil, do you?
Aviotic oil.
Well, here's some facts that's just impossible to ignore. In 1910, you could get 100 barrels of oil out of the ground with 1 barrel of effort. And now we're down to 5 or 10 barrels out of the ground for 1 barrel of effort. It's just, that's an interesting fact. And we have to shove those damn oil derricks 15 miles out into the ocean. That's expensive. I think we're running out of oil, and nobody wants to talk about that. And so, can we see other evidence that we are running out of oil? You know, the price of gasoline has not gone up dramatically to match the idea that we're running out of oil yet. But we've got this COVID thing, and it's eliminated a lot of major flights, airplane traffic. Could that be an evidence that we're running out of oil? It takes a lot of oil dynamics to fill up those skyscrapers in New York and San Francisco, and they're 70% empty. So I think that the days of Trader Joe's, Walmart, Costco, I think they're numbered, because we're going to move in a direction of local is important rather than shipping crap from California and Brazil to Long Island Trader Joe's in New York. Uh-oh. DB says we're sitting on the large oil reserves. They were capped in the 40s? Okay, well then I guess I don't have anything to worry about.
And there's probably, you know, a lot of oil that's undiscovered also.
Well, why are they going 15 miles out into the ocean to get it?
It's probably the easiest. You talking down in the Gulf?
Well, here's another fact that's puzzling. Last year, Exxon stopped paying dividends for the first time in their history. What is that about?
Well, Ace, we all know the stock market is heavily inflated with all this free, funny money.
And if we drop off the energy cliff, you know, we're going to have to start building our own horse and buggies and growing our own food.
Nah, you talking for electricity?
Then we'll have to watch John Wayne movies as a how-to guide. If we even have electricity to watch the John Wayne movies.
No, there's always going to be electricity. Electricity falls from the sky.
Yeah, so we have to watch the John Wayne movies on double speed then.
Have you ever heard of Lord Kelvin's thunderstorm?
No, what's it about?
It's a water drop generator.
No.
Yeah, that Kelvin, he was a scientist, inventor. He's credited with the Kelvin temperature scale.
And he had a little stuffed animal named Hobbs, a little tiger animal named Hobbs.
Yeah, Kelvin and Hobbs. So he invented a air battery, and it's an electrical generator without any moving parts. It's called a water drop generator, or Lord Kelvin's thunderstorm. And there's so many different ways to generate electricity that electricity is not going anywhere. Yeah, people that don't know how. I mean, if you don't know how, you're dependent on other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's where they got everybody by the balls. Is that, you know, most people they don't know how. You know.
I love telling people the true story of the Prohibition days. That it was actually put out by the oil companies because they didn't want to compete with the farmers making their own truck fuel. They weren't drinking that moonshine whiskey. They were using it as fuel for their cars. And the Prohibition days put an end to that. And they didn't end the Prohibition until they had more or less trained everybody to use regular gasoline and
We can always go back to radium.
radium.
Yeah. That was the nuclear energy of the 1910s before the government put a lid on it.
What's
Yeah,
that
some
all,
of the-
all about?
Well, it's just a little piece of what's the word? Radioactive material that emits energy.
Yeah, you can do that with any radioactive material and stuff. The thing is, though, is a lot of those things are very, very dangerous. You know.
Well, sir. Can you guys say, well, sir?
Well, so
Well, sir.
Well,
That's what my grandfather used to say when he didn't know what else to say. Well, sir.
it's, you know, a lot of it is a matter of how to do it safely. Back in the 90s, there was a guy named Stanley Meyer. He, in his garage, you know, just shade tree, he built a water car, a car that ran on water. And the government
And-
put a kibosh to that.
And then he died.
Huh?
Then he died.
He got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was trying to market the technology to the U.S. military and stuff. And, you know, the U.S. military is very, very heavily dependent on the oil industry.
Oh yes, they are. Yes, of course. Our
I mean, you know
President
how much
generals.
oil they use every day? It's astronomical.
So one general says to his assistant said, we got to watch out for those damn communists, sir. And the general says, no, we got to watch out for the Navy because they're after our budget.
The Navy.
He said, the Navy is our real enemy because they're after our budget.
Who said that?
The U.S. Army general.
An Army general.
Mm-hmm.
Worried about the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, you can't have those guys stealing our budget. Because the world is run by F-Troop, you know.
I've been waiting forever for them to finally release their digital coins. Forever. Oh man. Should have been here by now. The $50. They've been talking about it forever. Oh man.
Richard Matson's in the house.
Hey Richard.
Howdy do. So, how did we get here? What the hell's going on?
Well, in 2004, they made a computer program called YouTube.
Actually, Al Gore created that. He invented it. Don't you know?
YouTube?
And the whole internet. Al Gore did.
Oh,
Yeah, he did.
Who was the first YouTube star?
shoot, I don't know. They probably got that recorded, documented somewhere,
I
though.
think it was that guy who was playing Paco Bell on electric guitar. Some guy who had his
Oh, there he is.
guitar and his hat down like this so you couldn't see his eyes, and he kept playing.
Oh.
PewDiePie? Huh.
Oh, he was a big old, yeah, he was a megastar.
I can honestly say I've never ever seen a single one of PewDiePie's videos. Yeah, the B system will operate on digital currency. That whole Bitcoin crap that's going around and stuff, I don't even know what to think about all that shit.
Well, right now it's all coming to a halt with Bitcoin because of China. China's outlawed it. They were wasting so much energy mining for Bitcoin in China, destroying the environment.
Yeah, because it takes electricity or something to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. You guys remember? Not Fidel Castro. Gaddafi. Gaddafi, I think he was a Syrian president or something. He was
No, Gaddafi is the Libyan president.
or Libyan. Yeah, that's right, Libyan. Yep. He was trying to set up these like type of ATM machines that actually gave out like gold coins instead of just currency. It was actual like real money, actual gold coins and stuff. I think that is a lot of the reasons why he got assassinated. That, and he was trying to with the water, he was trying to make water in that area a lot more readily available and clean and whatnot. Yeah, the governments, they do not want the people to be self-sufficient. They don't want them to know how to do anything, because when you know how to do things, then you're not dependent on other people. If you know how to build a gun, you don't have to go out and buy one.
So I just heard about this new book called The War on Small Business, which seemed to fit with what you're saying, Timberwolf. The author, from what I know of the book, I haven't read it yet. The author is saying that there is a war on small business because the small business owner is rather independent and persnickety and won't cooperate with the bigger plans of manipulation. So we need to get rid of that bad boy.
Well,
and of course, there has been hundreds of thousands of small businesses that have closed up shop in the last 18 months.
Yep.
F Troop reigns, baby. Alan, can you bring up the a screen on the War on Small Business?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Just do a search for the War on Small Business and see what you can find. Maybe there's even a YouTube on it.
Yeah, if you could generate your own electricity, you don't need power companies. Building a self-sustaining electrical generator, that takes a little bit of know-how.
You already have it. It's called nuclear energy. It's legal. It's very illegal.
What's it called, Alan?
Nuclear energy.
Oh,
10,000
nuclear?
battery that'll last 10,000 years. Yeah. It's just very dangerous and illegal. But we got the tech.
Yeah, and there's more ways than just that too. Safer ways. Entrepreneur Carol Roth.
Carol Roth, huh? Oops.
See, everywhere you look, you see this COVID-19. You know,
Small
they're
business owners thrown in jail for trying to make a living? Oh, man.
like in California, you can't even set up a cistern to collect your own rainwater. You know, they've like made that illegal.
Sure.
And it's ridiculous.
Making a sandwich.
They hide all kinds of zero-point energy technology from us. Okay. You need a stream on your property for a water wheel or a wide open space for wind and solar. I have neither.
You
But
just
what
build
if
a
you-
water drop generator. That'll generate plenty of electricity. There's a lot of small little African villages that use that Lord Kelvin thunderstorm to power the entire village.
Or you could make an association with a Karen who is also a windbag and tap that energy. Sorry.
Whoa. Kids out of the room right now.
All right, go ahead. That was good. Say that again.
What?
See,
Help it.
where Stanley Meyer went wrong with his water car was his intentions were wrong. Let me see if I can find it here. It's in Job 38.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that looks like the Gap diet.
That's what it is. That's it, baby.
Caveman diet. No bread, no Pop-Tarts, no pie. Mm-mm-mm.
Got some apples right there.
It's written in Job 38, 22. Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war?
Okay, let's see.
What's happening?
I don't know what's happening. We're looking over here on Clusterfuck Nation. Biden Breaking Bad. See this little icon at the top of the horse drawing the car? That could be our future. If that's for me, I'm not here.
That's me.
The Long Emergency. Here we go. Now, this is an interesting book. Wishful Thinking, Technology, and the Fate of the Nation. The national best-selling author of The Long Emergency expands his alarming argument that our oil-addicted, technology-dependent society is on the brink of collapse, and the long emergency has already begun. Published by the Atlantic Monthly Press, followers of Kunstler's writings and attendees of his many lecture appearances will recognize the Take No Prisoner's style. And a quote says, Kunstler plainly has a lot to say about the state of the world, while much of it's bad, aggressively congenial, perhaps even blind, faithfully bad. He speaks with such vim and vigor that you find yourself nodding in agreement rather than looking for a noose. His critically acclaimed bestseller, The Long Emergency, originally published in 2005, quickly became the grassroots hit, going into 9 printings in hardcover. His shocking version of our post-oil future caught the attention of the environmentalists and business leaders alike and stimulated the widespread discussion about our dependence on fossil fuels and our dysfunctional financial and government institutions. Kunstler has since become a key commentator on the future, profiled in The New Yorker, invited to speak at TED. Ooh, he's so special. In Too Much Magic, he evaluates the change in the last 7 years and shows that in a post-financial crisis world, his ideas are more relevant than ever. Too Much Magic is what Kunstler sees in the bright visions of a future world dreamed by overly optimistic souls who believe technology will solve all of our problems. Their visions remind him of the flying cars and robot maids that were dominant images in the future. In the 1950s, Kunstler's idea of the future is much more sober. He realizes the various technologies like vertical farms, fracking, corn ethanol, suggested as an overnight solution to the energy crisis, and finds none that he thinks will work in the long term to cure a society dependent on gas-guzzling cars and in love with inefficient ideals of suburbia, and unwilling to fundamentally change its high-energy lifestyle. Kunstler offers concrete ideas on how we can help ourselves adjust to the society where the oil tap is running dry. Too much magic. So, Richard Golko and I have talked a little bit about what if YouTube for us disappears? How do we start an ecclesia in our own towns? So it is to be something to be considered. Flashlights that can start fires?
Those would be called lasers.
Wait a minute. If God is in control? Okay. Don't we love our technologies?
Yes, we do. But how do I put this? The entire problem of running out of petroleum, it can be easily augmented with just switching to nuclear. I don't see it as the crisis of the eon, as you do. We have the technology to make these nuclear power plants. We could build a whole fleet of them. We could go thorium reactors.
Yeah, but nuclear power plants are very dependent on oil to keep them running and maintained. And so one of Kunstler's ideas that he builds his arguments on is from an old book from the 80s or maybe the 90s that argues that complex societies do reach a point where adding one more complexity to the whole thing tends to make the thing fall apart altogether. And we sure do have a complex society going right now.
Maybe the answer is hemp. Maybe that's the answer. The industrial weed planets, a plant that's, what's the word? You can make oil out of it. Maybe that's the answer. Instead of growing corn, we grow hemp, tons of hemp. And from the hemp, we get biodiesel. And from the biodiesel, we move on.
Okay. You want to lead that charge?
Well, sure, why not?
Okay.
Or, I don't know. There's a concept of geothermal vents. There's a whole bunch of other solutions out there that if we were pressed, I think we'd go to it. The only reason why we're not, really digging into this nuclear stuff is because we got the oil. Once we run out of the oil, then, everything falls out the window.
Will nuclear power 18-wheelers across the country?
Sure. From the nuclear waste itself, you can make batteries.
Weird. Well, what can possibly go wrong?
Well, a lot could go wrong. That's why we don't do it. But it's there. It's there. What's the word? The whole worry about the dirty bomb and terrorists getting it and then blowing stuff up. But there are options.
God bless the Amish.
Anyway, have you guys been keeping track on Evergrande?
Evergrande. Yeah, I've done a little bit of homework on that. That could be like a snowball from hell rolling down the hill.
Yeah, they missed their payment.
They missed their payment, and there's a lot of people who have money tied up in Evergrande that we wouldn't even know that have money tied up in Evergrande.
You know, right now, what's the word? The whole reason why the American media is talking about it is because the people who run the American media are losing money with Evergrande. That's why they're pressuring the Chinese government to bail them out so they can get back their money. But not just our overlords, but their overlords as well. But, you know, right now, Z is in a power struggle. And so from what I can see and from what the word on the street is that they're just going to let Evergrande collapse and then nationalize it.
Well, that'll solve that.
You know, the Chinese are better capitalists than us.
Okay, boys and girls.
All right.
Exit
See ya.
stage right.
And I got to ask one more question.
Go ahead.
Does God need your permission to save you? You know, we never got to that.
Well, let's make God take a number
Okay.
and go to the
Yeah.
back of the line because we've got things to do, you know. We're busy.
Oh, man. You know, so what will be the title for this stream since this has nothing to do with the sovereignty of God at all? You know, just Sunday chat, Sunday evening chat, I guess.
Well,
You know, all is of God, actually.
I think this is a perfect example of us, of you, setting out, willing to do one thing by God. It's titled what? What's the name of the show?
Does God need your permission to save you? And God had apparently a different view for this chat. And this would be, we're talking about nuclear energy and how we're going to run out of oil,
And movies.
Actually,
movies.
does God have permission to change the subject?
Oh, man.
Apparently not.
All is vanity. All is vanity. Oh, man.
Well, you heard some good movies to watch. If you haven't seen them, I know I saw a couple.
My top recommends are Buckaroo Banzai and Brazil.
Guys, let's talk about something that's deep on my heart at the moment.
Okay, go ahead.
The concept of intellectual property.
Uh-oh.
All right, I don't believe in it.
I don't either.
Wow. Thanks, guys. Thanks. You know, what's the word?
If you have to go to the government to get a copyright and a patent, oh, you're in trouble. They're not famous for keeping their agreements and not encroaching on other people and the property.
Well, it's not just that. It's that it's become so cancerous and so toxic. You know,
WD-40 has never been copyrighted or patented. They don't seem to have a problem with their material.
Really?
Yeah, they're smart because if they would have patented it, it'd be all over the place. But they used marketing and branding to build themselves an exclusive niche in the world.
Right.
And the idea of copyright and patenting, to me it's like immoral. So God gives somebody an idea and they write it down. It should belong to the world so that you can build on it. What are you going to do? Copyright it and keep it away from the world? Why even bother writing it down?
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah,
look at how.
I once heard that the whole copyright and the whole patent system is there so people can get your secrets.
Well, no, it's there so the government can control speech. That's the original purpose of copyright. People invented the printing press. People started printing negative things about the king and the government, and so the government gave monopoly on the the printers to certain people, you know, so that they can control the flow of information.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you know, like for example, this whole Mickey Mouse dilemma. You know, every single time Mickey Mouse is about to file a copyright, it would be extended and extended, and they would extend it. They'll bribe Congress to extend the copyright term. You know, and now, you know, in a few years, finally, Mickey Mouse is going to come out into the public domain. You know, but you know, we had to wait over 100 years or so for this to happen. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You know, what has copyright done is led to this incestuous relationship with Hollywood. You know, since they don't have to be competed with. You know, if Marvel, what's the word? If Disney had to create their own Star Wars films and compete with other people creating Star Wars films, we have not created the crap we have right now.
Wow. Good point.
You know, and like look at what's the word? Disney's what's the word? You know how like they build these Star Wars themed attractions at Disney World and Disneyland. So like all the Star Wars themed attractions aren't based on the universe I actually care about, the George Lucas stuff. It's based on all the stuff they created. You know, like, oh look, you can visit Jakku. I don't care at all about Jakku. I care about Tatooine. You know, oh you can fight the First Order and take pictures with First Order guards. Well, I don't care about the First Order. I care about the Empire. You know, oh man. You know everything. You know. There's a reason for this. There's a reason why, like, in the Disney sequel trilogy, you know, they try to reboot everything. This is just a rumor online, but I believe it. Is that, you know, they bought the rights to Star Wars, but they didn't buy it completely. They still had to pay royalties to George Lucas. So that's why they created their own version of the Empire called the First Order. That's why they created their own version of the Rebel Alliance, you know, called I don't even know what they're called anymore. You know, what was Disney's version of the Rebel Alliance? The Rebels? I don't know. Oh, man. You know, they have their own version of R2D2. Why? Because if you use R2D2, you have to pay Georgia royalty. So they have, you know, what's the word? Their own version of everything. You know, but it sucks. It's not good. It feels generic. It feels bad. Anyhow.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
Oh well.
You'll get no argument from me.
I was expecting an argument from you. Yeah. Oh man. Oh well. Well, guys, it's been almost 2 hours. We have 2 minutes left till the 2 hour mark.
Well, thank you, Alan, for joining us.
Alan, before you go,
What?
you heard an awesome couple books and movies, some songs. I wanted to leave you with one movie that you cannot miss or make it in a house with 5 daughters. You ready? And if you haven't seen it, you have to see it.
Okay.
The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, have you seen Twilight?
No, sir.
Wow, it was a really good film, actually.
My daughters tried to watch it, and they grew bored.
Wow, I actually enjoyed it. Oh, well.
No, I'm just saying they nah.
You know, Kristen Stewart had a future career, but she kind of blew it. Oh, man.
But I introduced them to like Salem's Lot when they were little. We had a home theater. Like I took an old movie theater. I bought a bunch of old movie theater chairs and just replicated like an old trashy theater in the basement. I had 3 rows of it. You watch a scary movie in that middle row. Oh my gosh, it was like you're there.
Oh man. Did you guys watch the Saw films?
Yeah, those are all right.
I think they're really good.
Like the Amish handsaw massacre?
Oh man. The reboot.
Man, there was speaking of the Amish in movies, there's a great one with Harrison Ford in the Amish. It was just a really great movie.
What is it?
I don't know. It's probably the only Harrison Ford movie that is done about Amish people. As I started, I mean, it had the girl from Top Gun in it too, Kelly something.
Oh man, she's old now. Well, guys, it's been 2 hours. See you.
All right,
See you later, Alan.
later, Alan.
Witness. It was called Witness.
There you go. Dang it, I was going to pass on frickin' Barney to Alan before he left. Going to go out with it. I love you. You love me. We're a great big family.
Oh, brother.
We're the great
Whack,
big
patty whack.
yeah.
Really?
Won't you say you love me too? Yeah. Good night, guys.
Good night, Jeremy.
Thank you all. Nice meeting you, Arctic. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
All right. Take care.
Well, Mr. Wolf, you were the first and the last. Lord have mercy. You're just like Jesus.
You calling it a night, Ace?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Thanks for being on.
All right. You take care. Have a good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bill Bright, you should have been here from the beginning. It was exciting. Okay. Grace to you. And remember, God doesn't need your permission to save you. Christ died 2,000 years before you were ever born. And that means something. Good night.